Subsequently, at 0100 or 1 a.m. local time, 2 vehicles comprising an escort vehicle and a maintenance vehicle carrying 3 contractors workers for runway centerline painting work were allowed by duty air traffic controller to enter the runway while threshold runway 15 to do the painting. All communications are between the escorting vehicle and control tower using the walkie-talkie. The contractor's vehicle does not have any means of communication with control tower. At 0215 to 15 local time, tower controller shift 2 received a request to vacate the runway from the lighting maintenance vehicle through walkie-talkie as their work has been completed. Based on this last communication at time 2:15 a.m. local time, the duty air traffic controller shift 2 has recorded in the tower logbook that maintenance works on the runway has been completed and all vehicles have vacated the runway despite there were 2 other vehicles still on the runway doing painting works. 9 MTST, the aircraft, reported his position to the tower controller, shift 3, at 9 miles final runway 15 for IOS approach at 0308 or 3:08 a.m. local time. After looking out on the runway to check on any abnormal activities or unusual lighting to indicate vehicles present on the runway, clearance for landing was given to 9 MTST after the controller shift 3 satisfied that the runway was clear for the aircraft to make a landing. When 9 MTST descended lower and approached closer on its final approach, the leader of the contractor's workers saw the landing light of the aircraft approaching and realized that there was an aircraft coming for a landing. Fearing of the danger, all 3 workers boarded their vehicle and drove away from the runway. While making a 180 degrees turn, the driver realized the escorting vehicle was still static at the same last position. Based on witness statement, they flashed the headlight of the vehicle several times to attract the escort vehicle attention. No response was observed from the escort vehicle, and as the aircraft was getting closer to them, the driver drove his vehicle away from the runway and stopped at taxiway 4-stroke to give way to the aircraft to land. After landed safely, while decelerating with a speed of between 90 to 100 knots, the pilot in command felt that his aircraft hit something on the runway. Some of the preliminary findings: landing clearance. Firstly, the air crew were properly licensed and the landing was done legitimately after achieving landing clearance from Subang ATC Tower. 2. Air traffic control shift system. Brake shift involved only 1 air traffic controller on duty after midnight until 6:30 a.m. AAIB will further investigate on the application of single controller per shift system. Thirdly, communication between air traffic and working party. Thorough investigation will be conducted on SOP for communications between the control tower and maintenance vehicle using walkie-talkie instead of very high frequency VHF radio communication. SOP for vehicle operating on the runway. In-depth investigation on the SOP for vehicles operating on the runway will be conducted, especially on special equipment that needs to be in the vehicle when it enters the runway, such as radio communication equipment and rotating beacon.
Was there any findings as to why the driver was static after a while? And whether it is an issue with his vehicle or...
At the moment we are looking more detail into that question. We are looking also, but apparently the seat was reclined backward, so that declination carries some reason, but we are looking detail into it.
So is it too early to say that he was probably asleep?
No, I think we have not come to a conclusion on that yet. Okay. So what we can establish is the seat was declined backwards. I mean, we cannot ascertain whether the driver was asleep. I think this is too early to make a conclusion right now, and it's unfair to the driver.